Just another case, I suppose you'd call it. As judge of the juvenile court, I've handled hundreds. Funny, though, the way you can never get used to them. Take Edie Adams here. She tried to prove she had nerve, ran off with a stranger who promised to marry her. Well, he robbed a building and loan office. The police picked him up, and here she is in my chambers, a delinquent. Delinquent in good sense. I can't get over it sometimes, how teenagers can be such suckers. Do you know what a sucker really is? Ask any carnival pitchman. The sucker is the guy who thinks he's smart, that he's putting something over on you. Take the old shell game. The sucker never wins. Why? Because the pea is really a ball of wax. It's never under the shell. It's under the operator's fingernail. All right, what's that got to do with you? You never fell for the shell game. Don't fool yourselves. A lot of you have fallen for it, thrown away a future like nothing in the history of the world. For what? A kick? Or a fling? A thrill? You think you're smart enough to get away with it, but you're just being a sucker. What I call being delinquent in good sense. Like these two, parked on a lonely road, just looking for trouble. And trouble is there, all right. If you look hard enough, you can always find it, especially if you're the sharp one. The guy or gal who doesn't have to listen to your parents' good sense or follow the rules, because you're smart enough to beat the game and take care of yourself. That's what this couple thought. Did you read about the case in the newspapers? They found out how it feels to be a sucker. Too late to do any good, but they found out. What they didn't know was that men like this make a practice of lurking in lonely lovers' lanes to prey on young people who don't know any better than to be there. Sometimes the victims are lucky. They lose only money or their jewelry, but not this time. These two were fortunate to get out with their lives, and that's an experience they'll never forget. Just one case, and there are hundreds more in my files. All normal, average kids who saw their lives ruined in a few hours, or even in minutes. Let's take a look at another one. Mary Hansen. There's nothing wrong with babysitting in itself. It gives parents freedom, it gives you a chance to make some money, and learn how to handle small children. That's true so long as you and your parents know the people. But Mary put an ad in a newspaper for sitting jobs. But the idea of going to a strange home with someone you never saw before just because he answered an ad, well, it's plain idiotic. You wouldn't go away with a stranger for any other reason, and just because it's under the guise of babysitting doesn't make it all right. But this time, even Mary's mother is fooled. You see, he gave her a phone number where she could reach her daughter anytime. An hour and a half past time, and Mary isn't home yet. About time to call that number he left you, isn't it, Mrs. Hansen? You think it's silly to worry, don't you? After all, what could happen to Mary on a babysitting job? But the woman who answers the phone has no family. She never even heard of the man, or of Mary Hansen. No, she has no idea where the man got this number. And now, Mrs. Hansen, it is time to worry. But I'm afraid it's too late to do any good after letting your daughter drive away with a stranger. Another headline. This one was just last week. It's in my files. You can read about it. Now, let's take another example. Ethel Ryan's case, one of the nicest girls in her school. Like a lot of juniors and seniors, Ethel's friend Lynn thought they were too sophisticated for boys of their own age. They wanted somebody more glamorous. And the two in the convertible were just what they had in mind. To me, it would seem that the fact they'd never seen either of them before should make a difference. Well, it does to Lynn, but Ethel talks her into it. It's daytime, Ethel says, and aren't they grown up and smart enough to handle any situation? Well, why not? Lynn agrees finally. Both of them got home safely. And they're really in luck, Lynn tells her mother. She and Ethel met two of the nicest boys, and they're going out with them tonight. Who are they, and where did they meet them, Mrs. Coe asks. Well, Lynn explains, they don't know their names yet. She and Ethel missed their bus, and... You mean they picked you up, and you don't even know them? Well, her daughter is certainly not going out with strangers. She may be old-fashioned, she tells her daughter, but that's final. So, Ethel gets the bad news. Lynn's mother says no. Well, it's tough. But Ethel certainly isn't going to give up a good time, even if she has to go alone. Lynn wishes she had a mother like Ethel's, one who never forbids her daughter anything. See you later, Ethel says. Maybe. Well, I wish that were all there was to it. One girl out on a date, the other disgusted at staying home. But life is not quite that simple. When one breaks the rules, we pay for it. Walt soon decides that without Lynn, three's a crowd, so Tom leaves them alone. Now Ethel is really on her own. I suppose just about here the horse laughs are starting in the audience. All right, go ahead and laugh. Of course, Ethel isn't laughing. She can almost hear all the warnings she never listened to about being picked up by strangers. And here's something really funny. Go ahead, have a good laugh. Like Mr. and Mrs. Ryan and Ethel herself. And I can tell you about hundreds of cases. I hope you're beginning to get the idea. Mr. and Mrs. Adams are, and Edie, too. She's going to a detention home for 3 months. Plenty of time to think about whether a few minutes of showing off or feeling sharp is worth a lifetime of regrets. If you're willing to risk that, you're not the young American men and women I think you are. Think it over. Why not get really wise, really hip? Don't be a sucker.
For you. Told you so. Hello?
Marie,
Oh, yes, Alice.
Marie, you're upset about something. I do wish you'd try going out with some of the other boys as well as Jeff.
Why? Mother, I like Jeff a lot.
Well, I know, dear. I like him, too. But, after all, there are other boys in the world.
If there are, I wish one of them had called.
Now, would you date with one if he did call?
Oh, I don't know. I'd rather go out with Jeff, but I wish the others wouldn't ignore me so. Oh, Mother, that's the whole trouble. Jeff doesn't ask me, he just shows up. He knows I'll be waiting for him, so he doesn't call. And neither does anyone else.
There are disadvantages to going steady.
Going steady? Yes, I guess I have been going steady with Jeff. We never talked about it. But then, we've dated regularly for quite a while. But it's not serious. Really, it isn't.
Well, I hope Jeff doesn't feel that he has the right to take liberties.
Oh, Mother. That was Alice. She wanted to come over and make some fudge with her. Girls. But I guess I'll go anyway.
Don't worry, Marie. I'm sure that if Jeff likes you as much as you seem to like him, he'll be over. Or phone.
Hello? Oh, hello, Jeff.
Diane, you know the senior class play is coming up a week from next Friday. Well, I'd wonder if you'd like to go with me.
Well, thanks, Jeff, but you know I'm going steady, don't you? Hal and I. Besides, what's happened between you and Marie?
Between me and Marie? What?
Jeff, Marie is my friend. Besides, everybody knows you two are going steady. Don't try to pretend.
Going steady? Me? Well, thanks anyway, Diane. Going steady? Everybody knows. Everybody but me. Am I going steady? What does that mean? How did I get into this anyway? Well, I have had quite a few dates with Marie. We've had fun, too. Lots of fun. We've liked each other all along. We've done all sorts of things together, like the time I taught Marie how to skate. We sort of, well, we seem to get along. I like it that way. Yes, it's fun to date Marie, but going steady, that makes it sound so exclusive. Everybody knows, eh?
It's great to have you spend an evening at home for a change, Jeff. Quite a while since we played. Your move. Your move. This Marie Miller you've been dating seems like a fine girl.
Yes, she is. My move again.
Are you sure you want to move there?
I guess I better not play anymore tonight. I'm not so hot.
All right. Something else on your mind?
Well, the kids have all got the idea that Marie and I are going steady.
Uh-huh. You, haven't dated anyone else for quite a while.
But we haven't agreed on anything. I mean, we haven't even talked about going steady. We just...
You just sort of go steady. Perhaps that's the best way to go about it. You've dated Marie a few times. You've enjoyed the dates together. You're in the habit of dating each other. As long as you don't make any commitments, as long as you don't expect too much of each other.
That's funny, Dad. I half expected you to be mad when I told you. A couple of years ago, you used to worry if I dated the same girl twice in a row.
Yes, Mother and I used to worry about you going steady. Still do some. But you're older now. Mother and I think that you're better able to cope with the problems that go with going steady.
Yes. You've played the field for 2 or 3 years, Jeff. Now you begin to settle on one girl. To date her rather steadily for a while. Of course, the first time you go steady, you don't expect it to be permanent.
Permanent?
Mother and I went steady for quite a while. But it wasn't the first time for either of us.
What your father means is you'll likely go steady with several different girls before you begin to think seriously about marriage.
Oh, well, who's thinking about getting married?
A lot of young people do actually drift into marriage without first finding out how they get along with more than just one person.
Yes. I think I understand better now. Come on, Dad. Let's play some more checkers.
Oh, I guess I can skin you again.
Not this time.
There. You know, I think this is going to turn out all right.
Oh, I guess so.
Marie, I don't know whether I ought to tell you, but...
What?
Well, Jeff asked me for a date. Naturally, I refused. You know, I think you ought to make a bargain with him. Make him promise not to date anyone else.
Well, how do I know I won't want to date someone else myself?
Well, if you do, you can break up with Jeff. Go steady with the next fellow.
Then why go steady at all? Why not circulate a little? Besides, do you think we're old enough to go steady?
Well, how old should you be? Oh, you don't know how wonderful it is. Hal and I can depend on each other. I never have to worry whether I'll have a date. And it's so good to know that you belong to somebody. You don't have to make an effort to be at your best all the time.
Well, what about petting? I mean, I've heard you can get too deeply involved if you're going steady.
I know what you mean. Some boys think they can take advantage of you if you date them more than a couple of times. It's natural when a couple goes steady that they're closer together, but you have to know when to stop.
Somehow that doesn't sound like the way I want it to be. Seems crude.
What?
Know when to stop.
Well, you live your own life, but if you take my advice, you'll get your man and you'll go steady. There. All done. I'll get these things.
I wonder, do I have to decide? Can't I just wait and see what happens? Besides, I don't know how Jeff feels about all this.
Go steady for a while with several different girls. Enjoy it. Learn about yourself and about different kinds of girls. But don't expect too much. Don't make any commitments. That makes sense.
Hi, Jeff. Come on in.
I hope you're not busy tonight. I don't have anything planned, but I did want to say hello. Well, hello.
Hello. Wouldn't you want to play some records?
Sure. But first, I did have one thing planned. Would you like to go to the senior play with me next Friday?
I'd love to. Thanks for asking. It sort of helps if I can plan ahead.
Yes, I see. I'll try to ask you ahead of time, sometimes.
And I'll try to say yes. Sometime. How about the records?
Sure. This is going to be fun.
There's a time when all young people feel the need for freedom to explore new horizons. They're impatient and eager to discover life. But between their eagerness and life's promises stands one unpredictable obstacle: their parents.
Blue room, gosh. I've never been to the blue room. Me neither, Sadie.
Bet no one in the whole class will think of going there after the dance.
The blue room, gosh, that's the dreamiest idea I've heard yet. But count me out. You know how strict my father is.
Parents are sure tough. I'm bound to get a battle out of mine. But let's try, all of us. Even you, Jane. It's worth a try.
Oh, you guys have it easy. Parents are rougher on girls. They just don't understand.
Well, what's the difference? They treat us all like babies.
Yeah.
Here are 6 young people complaining about their parents. Are parents hard to live with? Don't they understand the younger generation at all? Or does the young generation misunderstand parents?
Well, I don't know what young people are thinking of these days. No discipline, no consideration, no sense of the value of money. Everything seems so old-fashioned to them. No sense of responsibility.
Absolutely. You know, they get too much freedom, too much money. I used to think we had problems when Betty was little. Couldn't wait to see her grow. Oh, it's the old story. Little kids, little problems. Big kids, big problems.
Apparently, somebody sees this question a little differently. Could it be that teenagers are hard to live with, too? Maybe there are 2 sides to the question. Let's follow Betty inside and get better acquainted with the Andersons.
Mother! Guess who asked me to the class dance? Who? Jimmy Allen. I can go, can't I?
Well, of course you can
Oh,
go.
I'm so happy.
See, and you thought you'd never break into the new crowd.
I thought I was going to be that new girl forever. Jimmy's going to drive, and Jane and Mary and their dates are coming with us. And afterwards, Mother, we're going to the blue room. Everyone's going to die of envy.
Oh, the blue room. That's that Frankie place of the name band and the floor show. You know, Betty, I like your new friends. They're nice children.
Children?
And I know you're going to need a new dress, dear. Well, I don't know about the blue room afterwards, dear.
But, Mother, I've got to go where the crowd goes.
Well, let's wait and talk to Dad before we get so upset. I just heard his car drive up. He'll be in a minute.
Hello, dear.
Oh,
Hi, Dad.
Frank, I'm so glad you're home early. Guess what happened?
What's that?
Jimmy Allen has invited Betty to the class dance. Formal, no less.
Jimmy Allen, eh? Well, it seems to me I've heard you mention him before.
Oh, Father.
Well, what's wrong?
They want to go to the blue room afterwards.
The blue room? Oh, no. No, that's out. The class dance is all right, but no blue room.
But, Father, I've got to go where the crowd goes. No, don't ever ask me out again.
No, Betty, it isn't as bad as all that.
It is. It's worse.
Betty's deeply hurt. From her point of view, her parents are being very hard. But from her parents' point of view, Betty is asking too much. It's an argument that can be solved only by compromise. But at Betty's age, it is difficult to accept compromise. Let's hear what Jimmy's father thinks about their plan to go to the blue room.
Hi, Dad.
Hello, son.
Where you going?
Taking out a client. What's on your mind?
Well, don't forget, you promised I could have the car for the class dance, Dad. I told the kids I'd drive.
I won't forget. But you have to put in the gas. And you have to wash it. Wish I didn't have to go tonight.
Didn't I wash it last time?
Yes, when I told you you couldn't have it again if you didn't. Incidentally, I want to know what time you get home. Your mother worries when you have the car.
I know how to drive, and I'm careful. I'm always careful.
You probably are, Jimmy, most of the time. But you don't have to cause an accident to be in one. I saw a car last night with at least 10 kids jammed into it.
Well, don't worry, Dad. There are only 6 of us. And 6 in Bill Swanson's car.
Mm-hmm.
Gee, Dad, why do you always have to act like a state's attorney when I want to borrow the car?
Jimmy's revolt against his inquisitive father is genuine. Regardless of his father's reasons for asking so many questions, Jimmy resents it. Oh, but here they come. Let's listen.
Are you going to come straight home after the dance, or are you taking the girls out for a bite to eat?
Well, the real fun begins after the dance is over. The kids all want to go down to the blue room.
The blue room?
Mm-hmm.
Down at the lake?
Yeah?
Why, that place will cost a fortune. Do you think I'm made of money?
Well, gee, Dad, it's the big dance of the year. You got to do something special. Well, that's why I've been saving my allowance.
Oh, you have enough?
Well, almost. I thought maybe you could lend me a little bit.
Oh, you did? I supply the car, plus your allowance, and you expect me to let you have some more. Who's doing the courting, you or my pocketbook? When I was your age, $1 was a lot, and $5 was plenty for the junior prom.
Well, things are different now. Besides, I'm only doing what the rest of the gang does.
I'm sorry. You and your friends will have to think of something else to do. Something sensible.
Jimmy and his father look at the question of using the car and spending money from different points of view. True, Jimmy needs an opportunity to prove that he can carry responsibility. But on the other hand, he's been negligent in the past. In different homes, different problems arise. Jane's date, Dick, thinks his greatest problem is his mother.
Hi, Mom. Sorry I'm late. What's for dinner?
Some good liver and bacon. Warmed over, though. You're very late tonight. Anything happen at the store? Don't forget your vitamins.
Oh, liver. Vitamin. Sounds like a doctor's prescription.
Well, you should have liver at least once a week. You need vitamins, too.
I know. You tell me that every day. Where's Pop?
He had to go out on a call again. I wish you wouldn't work so hard, Dick. You have too full a schedule.
I do not. I'm doing okay.
Well, you're trying to do too much, Dickie. What with your job, your schoolwork, going out to parties and dances and seeing your friends, it's just too much for you. I wish you'd quit that job.
Oh, Ma. I'm doing okay. Why do you worry all the time? I'm not a baby.
Of course you're not, but you're not grown up either. Now, do drink your milk. I wish you'd quit that job. It's just too much for you.
I like my job. It gives me some money of my own. You know, for like after the school dances. You know Dad would yell if I asked him for some money to go to the Blue Room.
The Blue Room? That's no place for young people.
Why not? We're old enough. The whole gang's going.
But you work so hard to save, Dick. You can't afford to let money slip through your fingers, and I won't have you staying out all night ruining your health.
I'll stay out all night, ruin my health, throw my money away. Can't I do anything? Look, I'm old enough to take care of myself.
I won't leave you alone, and I won't have you ruining your health. Not after all I've gone through with you. You were such a sickly baby.
Oh, for goodness sakes, Mom, I'm not a baby anymore.
Sometimes it seems hard to convince parents that you're growing up. But on the other hand, young people easily forget that for the greater part of their lives, they've been completely dependent upon their mothers. Growing up is a long process with many ups and downs. Like Dick, many children have gone through long periods of illness. From measles and chicken pox to upset stomachs and earaches and growing troubles of one kind or another. And so it is perfectly natural for Dick's mother to continue to protect him. And it's perfectly natural for Dick to assert his desire for independence. What is the answer? There is no one answer. Dick and his mother may have to face it that parents and children sometimes look at the same situation from opposing sides. But let's leave Dick's home and see why Dick's date, Jane, expressed so much concern about her parents.
I don't see why I can't go to the movies tomorrow night.
We discussed that at dinner because it's a school night. You know the rules about school night.
Rules, rules, rules. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can never do anything.
Oh, that's not true, and you know it. You've got a big weekend coming up with the class dance. We gave you permission to go to that.
You'd have to be ogres to keep me from that.
Well, we're not ogres, and we wouldn't keep you from it. But your daddy said to tell you to be sure to be in by 12.
12? I can't be in by then. I'll be the only one who can't go.
Go where?
You are going. Not to the dance, to the Blue Room afterwards. Remember the kids that came to my party last year? Well, we're all going together in 2 cars. I can't be in by then.
I'm sorry, Jane, but your daddy says that 12 is the limit.
That's right, young lady. 12 o'clock. That's plenty late for a girl your age. And if you can't be in by 12 o'clock, just forget the whole thing.
But, Father, all the other girls
I
have been
am not interested in what others do. In my house, I make the rules.
Oh, I might have known. Nobody else's parents are as strict as you are.
Poor Jane, she's really upset. Of course, she doesn't know that her friends aren't doing any better, even though they could put up a longer fight. Jane's father is rather strict. But there's a reason behind it. He was brought up this way, obeying his elders, never questioning their commands. And he lived a happy and successful life. You can hardly blame him for trying to raise his family in the same spirit. But Jane resents it. She wants to live her own life, a life similar to those of her friends. Jane is torn by conflicts. How to show respect for her parents and still have the right to live her own life as a full member of the family team. Some families achieve this feeling of teamwork at the conference table. The Smiths hold a family conference every few weeks to discuss budgets and allowances and other problems of mutual concern. And when special problems come up, they hold a special family conference to work it out together.
Where does that leave us, Glenn?
Well, I guess that does it. $25.
Now, how much of that do you two think you should have for this one night?
Not $20, I suppose.
Well, any other suggestions?
Gee, Glenn, I guess we're out. We better tell the others right away. Well, there must be something you can do that's fun, just a little more practical.
Well, what are some of the alternatives?
Well, the high school hangout closes at 10 o'clock, so that's out.
There's the Paradise Cafe and the all-night cafeteria and the drive-ins.
I guess they aren't very exciting, are they?
Are any of the girls having parties at their house?
Yes, but there's nothing to do. It's the same old thing.
We want to do something special. Well, of course you do, but couldn't we make it special?
Sure, special food, music, maybe favors or decorations. Well, sure, fine.
Listen, now, I have an idea. Could you leave it to a group of us parents just this once? Trust us to make it a special party?
Gosh, the folks really picked this place up.
Not exactly the blue room. Not the blue room check to pick up either. Hey, this suits me fine. Me too.
I can just hear my old man groans as he went up the ladder.
Just so he doesn't hear you call him old.
Oh, they're not so old, really. But they're so unpredictable.
Yes, unpredictable from Jane's point of view, just as she is from theirs. But once the young adults understand that their parents are people with habits, moods, and a right to live their own life, and when the parents realize how important it is for the young adults to manage their own affairs, then they can deal with each other as mutually respecting individuals. And their relationships will be healthier and happier.
when flowers bloom. Spring, when a young man's fancy lightly turns to thought. What's the matter? Exam week getting you down? What you need is to put down that notebook and take in some of the beauties of nature. See what I mean? But wait a minute, young lady. How did you get into this picture? You see, we're trying to prove a point about nature and beauty, and you're not exactly helping, you know. Look at your hair. Look at that blouse. And the way that skirt hangs. And those socks. Sorry, there must have been a mistake. You don't seem to be exactly the type to make this guy behave like a human being. But wait a minute. Come back. Let's start all over again. Oh, brother. Oh, brother is right. Look at that hair, that skin, that mouth. And now look at that blouse. And now look at the skirt. And the socks. Thanks a lot for helping us prove a point. And you too know the value of a good appearance. In fact, you all know that a good appearance is a must, not only to your college life now, but to your business and professional lives in the future. But good appearance is more than dressing up like a fashion plate. Anyone will make a good appearance if he's neat, no matter what his style of clothing. Clothes are important. Besides fitting well and looking well, wearing your clothes, like these shoes, is a sure way to make yourself uncomfortable. But good grooming is more than clothes deep. Good grooming starts with personal care. This principally means the care of your hands, your hair, your teeth, and your skin. Let's begin with the skin by taking a look at it from the doctor's point of view. You'll find that skin is a complex living tissue whose proper care requires a basic understanding of what it is and what it does. In this highly magnified section through the skin, we see that skin is made up of various layers. Individual cells of the outer layer are constantly drying out and dropping off to be replaced by the growing cells of the layers below. Skin differs in thickness and texture on various parts of the body, such as on the lips, the eyelid, or the feet. Perhaps the most familiar example of skin specialization is on your fingertips. Here the skin is grooved to help you hold smooth objects. Almost all skin is richly provided with nerves, which give the skin an amazing sensitivity to outside stimuli. Hence, the skin acts as a sensory organ for the protection of the body as a whole. And skin serves to protect you still another way, by providing one of the first physical signs of illness or disease. Most skin also contains hair. The hair roots are located below the skin surface. Most commonly, hairs are found in association with the sebaceous or oil glands. These oil glands often empty directly into the hair follicle or opening, by means of which the oil reaches the skin surface. The purpose of this oil is to soften and lubricate the hair and skin. Another gland found in the skin is the sweat gland. Glands open directly into the skin and discharge sweat through individual openings or pores. Sweating is one of the chief functions of the skin. The main value of sweating is the control of body heat, brought about by the evaporation of sweat from the skin surface. Most everyone sweats under one circumstance or another. Besides accumulating sweat, the skin is also constantly picking up dirt, dust, grit, and other foreign particles. And because the skin has lots of openings in its surface, these foreign particles, most of them loaded with bacteria, may enter the skin and start an infection. Such an infection, if untreated or irritated, could develop into a widespread inflammation or even blood poisoning. Don't let this happen to you. Protect your skin. Keep it looking clear and fresh. Keep it clean. The best way to clean your skin is still the old-fashioned use of soap, hot water, and plenty of elbow grease. And the result is well worth the effort. You don't need scientific proof of it. You can feel it. In addition to soap and water, there are other good aids for cleaning your skin. One of these is cleansing cream. Many girls find this helpful in removing cosmetics. However, nothing can take the place of your daily bath or shower. This is the time to give your skin a good, invigorating workout. If there is no visible dirt to wash off, there are body odors to be eliminated by cleansing your skin of dried sweat, skin scales, and dust. Your bath or shower should end with a brisk rinsing to carry away all soapy residue. The best part of the shower, it stimulates the skin and wakes it up all over. Bathing and toilet articles should be kept for your own personal use. Don't share them with others. You wouldn't use another person's toothbrush, so don't use their towel or toilet articles. And it goes without saying that only clean lingerie should go next to that clean skin. While it may not be necessary for all of you, some girls use a lubricating cream or lotion to prevent skin roughness or chapping. Expensive creams and powders, however, aren't necessary. A healthy skin can be kept attractive with only a few simple preparations. The removal of hairs is sometimes a problem. You can take care of single hairs with a pair of tweezers. But for leg and underarm hair, your best bet is a safety razor. Don't worry that shaving the hair will make it grow back either faster or denser. That isn't true. But it is true that chemical hair removers have been found harmful to the skin in some cases. Nail polish is harmless, but you should remove it for short periods in order to prevent cracking of the fingernail. Women usually take better care of their nails than men do. Many men let their nails get long and ragged and ignore their cuticles. For good nail care, a nail brush is indispensable. Nails provide places for bacteria. For this reason, you should give your nail particular attention whenever you wash your hands. After washing your hands, push back the cuticle while it's still soft and pliable from the soaking. Trim it occasionally, and keep your nails short and smooth. And speaking of nails, don't forget, you have 20 of them. Toenails, of course, must be trimmed also. To help prevent ingrown nails, use a straight cross-cut. The edge of the nail then will not dig into the flesh of the toe. The spaces between your toes should be kept dry as a precaution against athlete's foot. Routine dusting with talcum powder will help keep them dry. If athlete's foot should develop, consult a physician. Don't let this disease get a toehold on you. As an added precaution against athlete's foot, try to avoid direct contact with damp bathroom floors. Wear slippers or clogs. Next to the skin, we probably spend most of our attention on our hair. This is especially true among women. But this attention doesn't count. The hair needs careful attention, like this. Like caring for the skin, proper care of the hair requires some understanding of its structure and function. Here's a strand of human hair greatly magnified. Notice the rough, scaly texture. You can imagine how dirt hangs on to anything like this. And there's another factor that causes hair to get dirty. Remember the oil glands that pump their oil out along hair shafts? Well, a healthy scalp has plenty of oil to which dirt will cling. So wash your hair frequently if you want to keep this constant accumulation of dust, oil, and sweat at a minimum. Your hair should be washed once every 2 weeks, or more often if necessary, with water and a mild soap. This will usually take care of normal dandruff too, although excessive dandruff should be treated by a doctor. Rinse your hair thoroughly following the washing. A few drops of lemon juice or vinegar added to the water during the second rinse will make it much easier to remove any soap residue. The final rinsing, however, should be in fresh water. If your hair squeaks after the final rinsing, you may be sure it's clean. Most girls follow hair washing by doing their hair up in pins or curling rods. This is a good time, since damp hair is more elastic than dry hair, and you'll find it easier to manage. Permanent waving, if skillfully done, will not damage your hair. However, the use of strong dyes or bleaches is very likely to make the hair brittle. Brittle hair, in turn, is liable to break off in larger quantities than you care to lose. Short, straight, with a plain brush head about 1 inch long. There may be 2 or 3 rows of tufts, sufficiently interspaced to allow easy cleaning. To keep the bristles in best working condition, use a different brush after every meal, allowing each brush to dry thoroughly before it is used again. The technique of using one of these simple little instruments is best learned individually from your own dentist. If food particles become wedged in the teeth and you can't remove them by brushing, dental floss is often helpful. Ordinary toothpicks and other hard objects are apt to damage your gums. Care of the teeth, however, requires more than daily cleaning. Everybody needs periodic checkups, not only for professional tooth cleaning, but also to show up cavities and other defects before they become too far developed. And so, the end of a perfect day. A few minutes in the morning and evening, and occasional checkups during the day, are all you need to establish and keep up good grooming habits. And you, by following these simple rules of body care and grooming, you too will achieve that quality of appearance, that feeling of well-being.
As the pulse of modern living quickens in this fast-moving world, the problems of American life grow more and more complex. Particularly do our police departments throughout the land carry a heavy share of the many tasks that challenge every one of us from day to day. Modern law enforcement and protection cover many phases of action. The more violent crimes require the attention of specialists. But there are other problems, not quite so grave, that call for a different type of handling. Step inside, won't you? Here's the file on the Hartwell case, Burton. You see, our ultimate aim is to free the police department and leave matters such as these to you.
Well, we've had a good start, haven't we? And after all, as a representative of the Interfaith Religious Council, my job is to help prevent situations like the Hartwell incident.
Of course, we're overburdened as it is with real criminal matters.
During the short period that our educational and religious groups have worked with the police, we've kept a lot of youngsters from making more serious mistakes.
Our efforts are worth it if we can save just one youngster from getting mixed up.
Yes. Now let's have all the facts in this Hartwell case.
Apparently, the boy comes from a very good family. They live in a very nice home over in the southwest section of the city.
Frank, come back here a minute, dear.
All right, Helen, what is it now? I'll be late again today. Why do you always have to think of last-minute things?
If you weren't so busy with your own thoughts, there wouldn't be so much fuss around here.
Daddy, please don't forget your promise.
Oh, now, don't worry, darling. I've already ordered that new sweater and scarf combination. Do I ever disappoint you?
No, Daddy.
Frank, yesterday you promised to bring home the supplies from the 5 and 10 for the Joneses' barbecue Saturday. That's tomorrow, remember? Are you going to forget again today?
Why don't you stop nagging, Helen? I've told you that I'll take care of everything. Bye now. Now, is that all? Can I go to work now?
Oh, Dad, I don't mean to delay you, but what about my temporary driver's permit?
We'll talk about that some other time.
But, Frank, you promised the boy.
I know.
Then why do you keep putting it off week after week? This is important to Bill, though it may not mean much to you.
Now, look here, all of you. This is the limit. Can't I ever get to work in the morning without holding a convention? And as for you, Bill, I'll admit that I promised to apply for your driver's permit. But if you want to know the truth, I don't think you're entitled to it.
Why not? What have I done?
Nothing. That's just the trouble. Nothing. You're told to mow the lawn. Do you do it? No. I asked you to polish the car. You do a half-baked job, or not at all, or when it suits your own convenience.
Frank, please.
And what's more...
But, Dad, I'm doing the best I can. I've got homework and other things on my mind. And besides, a fella's got to have some time for fun, too.
Sure, I know. You've always got alibis. And you, dear, you certainly are no help. Always backing him up when I'm trying to make a man of him. Now, goodbye, everybody. I'll bring the barbecue things at noon, and as for you, get the cellar cleaned. It's about time that we put the tool shelves up and got the workbench in shape. I'll see you all later. And please, let's have a little peace and quiet around here. Thank you, dear. Goodbye.
Mom, you don't think Dad was serious about my driver's permit? He wouldn't let me down, would he?
Go on into the living room, Bill. I want to talk to you a little later. Here, Sarah. Run down to the grocer's and get these things for me.
Now?
Yes, Sarah, now. In the kitchen, you'll find a box of eggs. A couple of them are cracked. Tell Mr. Miller to exchange them.
Okay, Mother.
Well, Bill, did you get any ideas about your Father's Day present?
Sure, Mom. See?
How much have you saved so far?
$3.75.
Another $2 and you're all set?
Sure, another $2. And I can pick that up in no time. Gosh, Mom, what's the matter with Dad? Why is he always picking on me lately?
Maybe he's just upset a little.
He never used to be that way.
Well, you know how people get sometimes. Besides, your dad has your welfare at heart. I know he has.
But I don't think he likes me. Or what is it?
I'm sure you're only imagining things.
Gosh, Mom, I almost forgot. I got to go to work.
The cellar?
Well, no, that is not yet. Miss Carter promised me 75 cents if I wash her car.
But, Bill, suppose you don't get the cellar finished in time.
Don't worry, Mom. I've got it all figured out. And besides, she said if I changed the tire, she'd give me an extra 2 bits.
Oh, Bill, be sure to change to your real old clothes.
Don't worry, Mom. I will. Gosh, I forgot to call Arthur Franklin. fooling around, will you, Art? I asked you to help me, not play games.
Did your pop get you the beginner's permit?
Nah, first it's yes, then it's no. Then it's yes, then no. Gosh, I don't know where I stand.
But we are going to have the car tomorrow for the church picnic, aren't we?
Yeah, but you'll have to drive if I don't get my permit.
So I'll drive. My license is good.
Tell the kids we'd pick them up?
They're counting on it.
Boy, we'll look pretty important driving to the picnic.
That'll be half the fun. Say, I gotta be getting home for lunch. You coming over to the ball field this afternoon?
No, I'm supposed to clean the cellar. Or Pop will raise the roof.
Well, I'll see you tomorrow then.
Okay, I'll call you when I'm ready.
Okay.
So long, and thanks.
Bill, the cellar. You better get started.
I'll be through in a minute. Hello, Dad. Look, I'm getting along swell. Isn't this a good place for the newspapers and the magazines? Junkman ought to pay us a couple of bucks for them.
It should be finished by now.
I know, but you see...
No, I don't see.
Dad, if I could only explain. I had to do a little job for Mrs. Carter.
So Mrs. Carter's work is more important than mine.
Dad, you don't understand. There's something special I'm saving for.
I've lost all patience with you, and I've warned you time and again. Well, there won't be any more warnings. Maybe this will be a lesson for you. You can't have the car tomorrow for the picnic.
But, Dad, I promised my friends. How can I tell them? Aw, shucks. Sunday School Juniors Picnic, Saturday, July 10th, Woodland Park. Sports, games, baseball, prizes. Free dinner at noon. No car. What a deal. Breaks his promise. I can use this money for myself. I'll show him. Hello, Art. Don't come over tomorrow until I phone you. No, there's no change in our plans, and nothing went wrong. Right, tomorrow.
Are you sure, Sarah, you don't want to go to the picnic?
Oh, I'm sure. I'd much rather go to the barbecue with you and Daddy.
Oh, that's the Blakes calling for us now. Oh, Frank! Frank, hurry, dear.
All right, I'm ready. Let's go. And Helen, if I get talking to Blake, try not to interrupt if you can help. I'm trying to work out a little business deal with him.
Yes, I know. Don't worry. Now, don't be too late getting home, Bill.
I won't, Mom. Goodbye.
Come, Sarah.
And remember, no car.
Hello, Art. It's me. Hike it over on the double.
What are we starting so early for? I was just getting up when you called.
Never mind. Let's shove off.
But we don't have to meet the other kids for an hour.
We'll wait, but not here. Come on, step on it.
What'd you make me stop for?
I'll take over now.
But you didn't get your permit. Or did you?
Stop yakking like an old lady. You give a guy the jitters.
But what if you get stopped?
Who's getting stopped? And for what? Come on, change places. Jumping catfish.
Let's see what we did.
Sit tight. Didn't you hear what we did? Shut the door. You get out here and meet the kids and go on to the picnic. I'll be there later.
But aren't we going to report the accident?
Who knows about it but us?
I don't want any part of this.
You will be part of it if you don't shut up. And you don't know anything, see?
I never saw you act like this, Bill. What are you afraid of?
Skip it, Art. Just get out and get going. And remember, not a word to anybody.
Never mind, dear. Run on upstairs. What's that hammering?
Bill! Bill! Is that you down there?
Yeah, it's me.
Come on up here.
I wonder if anything could have gone wrong.
How's that? What's wrong?
Hi, have a good time?
Bill, how come you're home before us?
Well, you see, I decided the last minute to stay home so I could finish the job on the shelves.
Why all this sudden enthusiasm for work?
What's wrong if I do some work? It's wrong if I do, it's wrong if I don't.
Frank, why are you so unfair to Bill?
I tell you, that boy is acting strangely.
Well, I think it's you who's acting strangely. This peculiar treatment of yours isn't doing our son any good, no matter what your hidden reasons or motives might be.
Now look here, Helen. There's only one of us can set the policy around here. We can't have two generals. It's either you or me.
And besides, the fellow's gotta have time for some fun, too.
Sure, I know. You've always got alibis. And you, dear, you certainly are no help. Always backing him up when I'm trying to make a man of him.
Gosh, Mom, what's the matter with Dad? Why's he always picking on me lately?
Maybe he's just out of sorts a little.
Maybe this will be a lesson for you. You can't have the car tomorrow for the picnic.
Dad, I promised the kids. How can I tell them? Mom!
Must have been some dream, son. Terry and the Pirates or Superman.
Much worse. Even Pop was in it.
Well, you'd better sleep a little later tomorrow.
I can't, Mom. I'll be late for Sunday school.
Oh, how silly. I almost forgot tomorrow's Sunday. I tell you what, I'll wake you in time and we'll have hot waffles for breakfast. How's that?
Swell idea. Mom, with melted butter and maple syrup like last week, only double it.
Sure, double it.
How do you do? Is this the Hartwell residence?
Yes,
I'm Lieutenant Van Sickman of the police department. I'd like to speak to Mr. Hartwell, please.
certainly. Come in, please. Oh, Frank,
Yeah?
this is Lieutenant Van Sickman.
How do you do?
You're Frank Hartwell?
Yes.
Your automobile was involved in an accident yesterday, and it wasn't reported to the police.
Impossible. You're mistaken.
Well, it could be an error, but I doubt it.
Well, that's ridiculous. My car wasn't out of the garage yesterday.
Take it easy, Frank.
If you don't mind, dear, I'll handle this.
Well, someone drove it. I'm not accusing you, but a witness reported 2 young boys in the front seat.
That's ridiculous.
That same witness took down your license number after a crash on Willow Drive. I've just come from the police laboratory. Samples of paint from the damaged car and your rear bumper match identically.
Bill, come here. When were you snooping around my garage?
We checked your car for evidence at 6 this morning. Lose no time, you know.
Did you drive the car yesterday?
Me? Yesterday? The car? No, it wasn't me.
Who was it?
Nobody, I don't know. What are you blaming me for? I don't even know what you're talking about.
You're lying and you know it.
You're always hounding me. Why don't you leave me alone?
This doesn't look good, Mr. Hartwell. There's more at stake here than appears on the surface.
What do you mean?
That boy of yours. He's tied up in a knot. I'd like to have a talk with him. Do you mind?
No. No, of course not. Helen, would you get Billy, please? All this beats me.
So you see, Billy, there's still some paint left on that bumper. Come on now. You needn't be afraid to confide in me.
Well, okay then, the car was out. But it wasn't me who did the driving because I don't have a license.
I see. Who did do the driving, Billy?
He's a sort of friend of mine.
And you don't want to give him away, huh?
You wouldn't want me to snitch, would you?
Well, I wouldn't exactly call it snitching. It's just telling the truth.
Okay then, it was Arthur Franklin. I've known him for years. He's all right, but...
I think I understand everything, son. We'll talk about this some more. Take it easy.
How did I know that Bill was saving up his money to buy me a present?
Would that make any difference in the way an understanding father should treat his son?
No, of course not. It shouldn't. What a fool I've been. Fine father I am.
I tried to explain to you, Frank.
Now this thing with the police.
What time is it?
Nearly 2.
We promised we'd be down at police headquarters by 2:30. Come on, Frank.
I think your plan for handling the Hartwell situation is most intelligent.
It's time for them now. Send Mr. and Mrs. Hartwell in, Brown. Oh, come in, folks. How are you, Mr. and Mrs. Hartwell? I'm glad to see you.
Thank you.
I'd like you to know Mr. Burton.
Mr. Burton?
How do you do? I'm glad to know you.
Won't you folks sit down, please?
Thank you.
The boy.
It was all my fault. I drove the car, and I caused the accident, too. Gosh, I don't know why I let myself tell all those lies.
He's really a good boy. Never been in any trouble, and he certainly didn't mean harm. Please try to understand.
That's exactly what we're trying to do. Understanding is the answer to all this. Folks, Mr. Burton is a member of the Interfaith Religious Council. He and I have been working together. We've found in problems like yours, all we need is a chance to meet and talk it out. It's good for the soul. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going out for a while and leave the 4 of you alone.
You know, it's only been a few years since we've realized how to handle matters like this. The real causes of law violations are often controllable, and real trouble can be nipped in the bud. As a religious counselor, I can take up where the police leave off. In cases like yours, young man, try to look at it this way. You really violated one of the commandments, in that you bore false witness against your neighbor. In this instance, your friend, Arthur Franklin. But worse than that, you were untrue to yourself, a far more serious error. Youngsters in particular should feel free and without fear to consult with their parents. Lies, even little white lies, never pay off. Son, would you mind stepping outside now? As for you, Mr. and Mrs. Hartwell, I'd like to suggest that we might well consider a newer commandment. Honor thy children. By closing your hearts and channels of understanding, you see how easy it is to break the bonds of confidence between yourselves and your God-given offspring? The lies that Bill concocted were born of frustration. He has suffered because of them. And so have you, Mr. Hartwell. Above all, let us be true to ourselves. Then, as surely as the night follows the day, will we be true to each other.
Once upon a time, not really very long ago, there lived in this small Midwestern town a young man named William Blake. Like many other young men brought up in small towns, William was anxious to see what he called the outside world. I can't for the life of me figure out why William wanted to leave such a pretty town, all sprinkled with clean white houses and great green lawns planted with cool shade trees. Oh, it's true that Williamstown is just a small town, but there's really a lot to do here, and on the large farms nearby. The farms that produce much of the food that keeps you and me and other city folk alive and healthy. One of these farms belongs to William's grandparents, and it is on this farm that William spends much of his time during the long summer vacations from school. Well, there's William now, sitting on that cool bank by the stream that runs through the farm. There he sits, fishing and daydreaming. And there is Shivers, his dog. It's a very pretty place. I'm sure that you or I wouldn't want to leave such a delightful spot. But William is quite a man now. You see, he graduated from the 8th grade just last week. And next semester he'll be starting high school. So he feels that he'd like to travel to the big city and seek his fortune. Just daydreaming, of course. Let me put it this way. Have you ever noticed how a cow will most always try to get to the grass on the other side of the fence, even though she is surrounded by grass just as good and just as green? Well, that's how it is with people, too. We just have to see if the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. Most of us, the lucky ones, soon discover that the grass at home is greener, and we're glad to return. But first, most of us just have to find out. Now, that's exactly how William felt. He likes his town and this fine big farm, but his thoughts, for the moment at least, are on those greener fields over the horizon. In William's case, the city. Bill, I don't think he'd mind if we called him Bill. He's such a friendly fellow, as we'll soon see. Well, Bill has been mighty restless since school closed for the summer, and he feels that he'll simply explode if he doesn't get to the city pretty soon. Although I must say he doesn't look at all restless here, stretched out in the field, looking up at the sky and finding all sorts of pictures in the clouds. That's a wonderful way to think things out. I'm sure you've all tried it. It's fun at night, too, to lie flat on your back and look up at the stars. Sometimes, especially on Monday nights, they say, you can see shooting stars. But I'm getting away from my story. Looking at Bill so nice and comfortable makes me drowsy. Pardon me. You know, I'll bet he falls asleep and forgets all about that nonsense of seeking his fortune in the city. Oh, I guess not. Well, let's watch and see what he does.
Shivers, I've made up my mind. Yes, sir, I've made up my mind. I'm going to the city today. Right now, in fact. Let's see. $1.73. That'll take me a long ways, I've got these sandwiches, too. I'll be a man of action, as Grandfather says, and start out right now. Shivers, you stay here. The city is no place for a country dog. Go on, you run along home.
Good day, my young and healthy friend. Whither are you bound? To yonder great city, perchance? Come and visit with a tired, lonely old traveler for a spell.
Why, hello. Oh, forgive me for staring. I don't mean to be rude, but I must say you startled me.
Oh, come now, my dear young sir. There's no reason why I should startle you. It's just that you don't know me. Do stop for a moment. As I was about to say, you don't know me yet. Lots of people find me a delightful companion when first they get to know me. But alas, I don't seem to be able to keep my friends for very long. I try so hard to make people happy and gay, but I guess my spirits are much too strong for them. That's a joke, boy.
A joke? You are a funny fellow. But you really don't seem like such a bad sort. If you had a bath and some clean clothes, you might look halfway decent.
A bath? Clean clothes? Sir, don't mention such things in my presence. I can see that you're a country boy. Don't you know who I am?
You do look familiar. Let me see. Haven't I seen your pictures in the magazines or on the billboards?
To be sure, thousands of times. There are a lot of news items and stories about me, none of them very good. But in the paid advertising on the billboards and the magazines, you'll see some very nice pictures of me, but not how I look now. After all, I've been sick.
I think I remember. Isn't your name Whiskey?
That's right. You're a lot smarter than I thought you were. That's my name, all right. See? If you look closely, you'll see it written right here on my shirt front.
Sure enough, I can see it. But what are you doing here by the road?
I can see you have a lot to learn. Well, first things first. In answer to your question, I was traveling along in a beautiful car with a fine fella from the city. He was on his way out here for some fishing, and he brought me along to keep him company. And because of me, he smashed up his car. Right over there. Now, he's in the hospital. And here I am, walking, mind you, all the way back to the city. Some people are so ungrateful.
This is all very mysterious. I've never seen anybody like you where I live.
And just where might that be?
Williamsboro, just a few miles down the road.
Oh, that place. My friends and I are not allowed there. The citizens think we bring too much trouble. Let me tell you right here and now that things are getting very bad for me and my friends all over the country. There are so many places we're not allowed anymore.
Well, it's been nice meeting you, but I must get along. I want to get to the city before dark.
Well, I'm on my way to the city, too. Do you mind if I come along as sort of a companion? I could keep you company and point out things of interest along the road.
Well, I guess it would be all right. My father said I should be very careful with whom I make friends. But I don't see any harm in just walking along together. Think you can keep up with me? I'm a pretty fast walker.
Don't worry about that. Whenever I make a friend, I stick right with him as long as I can. In fact, I've had many friends who just couldn't part with me.
These friends of yours that just couldn't part with you, where are they now?
Unfortunately, many of them are sick, and quite a few have died. It's very sad. We were all so merry for a short while, and then the friends who are still living turned against me. Oh, I've caused a lot of trouble in my time.
But don't you have other friends like yourself?
Oh, sure, there's Brother Beer and Cousin Wine and Uncle Rum, but we never mixed very well as a family. But let's talk about you. Why do you want to leave this nice countryside for the city? If I had to do it all over again, I think I'd just be plain Mr. Soda Pop and lead the good life. Dear, I'm afraid it's too late for that now.
I haven't decided what I want to do when I'm a man. Of course, that's not very far off. What kind of a job I'd be happiest doing? And I thought that being in the city would give me a chance to look around and find something interesting.
To be sure, to be sure.
Hey, just look at that train. Now that would be fun, to be the engineer of a locomotive like that. How would that suit you, Mr. Whiskey?
Oh, I'm afraid I could never be your companion in the cab of a locomotive. No, the railroad companies would never allow that.
Why not?
Well, they have rules and regulations that say their engineers must have clear heads and sharp eyes. And there's no place for a poor old whiskey in a setup like that.
Oh, that's a shame. Oh, it would be great fun to be at the throttle and go zooming by the countryside and over the prairies and across the mountains. Well, maybe you could ride in as a passenger.
No, that doesn't work well either. Some of my relatives have, but there are certain states where we're not allowed, even as passengers.
Oh, don't carry on so, Mr. Whiskey. Maybe you could be my companion doing something else.
Could be, but I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it.
Hey, that would be a fine position to have. A pilot on a cross-country plane. Hey, that'd be even more fun than running a train. Can't you see yourself way up above the clouds, soaring over the mountains, flying over the country, and swooping in for a graceful landing?
Stop it! Stop it! You're making me all nervous and dizzy. I could never be your companion on a plane. That would be even more impossible than being with you on a train.
Why?
Rules and regulations again. Always rules and regulations. They say I impair the judgment and dull the senses. And they have very strict rules about letting pilots come in contact with me. It's unheard of. No, we'll have to try something else. Say, you mind if we rest for a while? I'm all out of breath. Just here by the side of the road for a minute or two. But hold on a minute. Mind if we cross over? I'd rather not walk by that church.
That's about the silliest thing you've said yet. You need the church. We all do. Without the church and what it stands for, we'd have nothing.
That might be all right for you, but religion and I don't mix. Most pastors are among my greatest enemies. I've lost a lot of my old companions when they've turned from me to the church. Mind if we cross over? I'll meet you over in that other corner. This'll do. We'll rest here.
Just for a minute or two. Here, have a sandwich. What you need is some food.
No, I have no stomach for sandwiches. Indigestion, you know. Whiskey and food just don't mix. Please put it away.
Say, look out there where those miners are coming up from work. Now, there's a worthwhile job. Without those miners, we wouldn't have any coal or ore. And without those things, we wouldn't have any industry. No cars, no planes, trains, stoves, buildings. Why, we wouldn't have anything.
They'd never let me underground. The miners say I'm too dangerous. But do you know? A lot of my friends are underground. Way under. Right over there.
I must say I don't think much of your humor. Come on, let's get a move on. We've got to get to the safe.
Take it easy. Let's sit down for a spell.
Oh, you're always tired. Maybe if you did a little exercise, well, you might try baseball or football, or look over there at that beach where those people are swimming. Say, that would make you feel real fine. Those waves would pep you up, and the nice cold water would clear your head.
Never. You must think I'm an awful sissy, but I never did have any place in sports, and athletes spurn me like the plague. Same old story. I interfere with muscle and bone and timing and endurance. You're making me feel very bad. I sure will be glad, as glad as I can be, when we reach the city and I can get home. You should see where I live. That's where I have lots of friends. Yes, sir, lots of friends.
Where do you live, and what are your friends like? If you'll pardon me, you seem so particular.
It's not that I'm so fussy. It's the others who shy away from me and push me about and generally make my life miserable. Just like so many people say I make their lives miserable. Me, whiskey. There's no justice. Why, just the other day, a dear companion of mine took me home, and his wife raised the roof. Complained of me making her husband spend all his money on me. On me. Just imagine. Why, he didn't spend any more money on me than he did on my kinfolk, wine, rum, and beer. And then she had the nerve to take me by the neck and throw me out of the window. I still have the bruises. Look. The other day I passed my ex-companion on the street, and he avoided me. Cut me dead. No wonder I have complexes.
Well, it seems to me that you would change your way of living.
Well, if I did that, I'd never come in contact with people. I'd never have any companions.
From what you've told me, I'd say people would be a lot better off if they never came in contact with you.
Why, that's not a bit polite. I'm really quite a gay fellow. Look.
Just look at that big ship. Now, that would be a fine life. Captain of a ship, with all the sea and oceans as highways. Think of all the fun it would be to travel and see strange lands and romantic islands.
It makes me seasick even to think of such a thing. If I can't be your companion on a train or a plane, it certainly stands to reason that I couldn't be with you on board a ship. No, I could never be responsible for all those people on board. Now, come on. I'm beginning to feel a bit better. Pretty soon we'll be home now. Just smell that lovely fresh soot.
It's a fire you smell over there. Why, the whole building is ablaze. important job for you. A fireman. How would you like that?
You know I could never be companion to a fireman. They say I've not the nerve for it, and I'd soon ruin your nerves and strength. No, that's not the job for us. Anyway, I hate water. Well, here we are, almost home. I think I'm going to feel better. I have friends here.
This is your home? What? All those people look sick and everything is so dirty. I don't see how anyone could live here. Why, there's a man over there in the gutter.
That's an old friend of mine. We've been companions for a long, long time. These are all my dear good friends.
I think I'd better get out of here. I've seen it.
Oh, come now. It's not as bad as you think. These are really fine companions. Well, let me introduce you to one of my oldest friends. Right down this alley. Come on. Hello there, my friend. How are you? I have someone I want you to meet. This is Bill. I'm going to be his companion while he's in the city.
Oh, it's you, is it? I thought I'd gotten away from you. If I wasn't so weak, sick, I'd break your miserable neck. Ah, so you think you found a new companion, huh? Well, not if I have my say. Young fella, you get out of here before it's too late. This, Mr. Whiskey, never be your friend. In the beginning, he'll pretend to be. Make all sorts of grand promises, but in the end, he'll have all your health and all your money and might even make you a slave. Get out of here, boy, and fast.
Rubbish. That's no way for you to talk. Don't listen to him, Bill.
Look, Mr. Whiskey, or whatever your name is, I don't like it here. I'm going to leave.
That's right, boy. Get out of here. You've seen the men on the street. There are countless thousands of us who have listened to his promises. And look at us now. All men of extinction. Go on home.
Just a minute, my dear young sir. I don't give up so easily. Friends are hard to find, and I insist that we be companions.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Get your hands off me. Shivers. Oh, shivers. Am I glad to see you? What a terrible dream I had. It was a dream, I think, but at the same time it seemed so real. Boy, I'd never want a companion like that old Mr. Whiskey. No, sir. You know, isn't this the most beautiful place in the whole wide world? Come on, let's go see what we're having for dinner. Come on.
Well, there's one who got away from me. But I'll keep trying.
On the razor's edge, between life and death, exists a place where a war is being waged for the future of your mortal soul.
What's going on here? Who are you guys?
What is this place? Sure isn't Kansas anymore.
Their enemies are fierce. Their survival uncertain. They battle evil to save your soul. The writer-director Philip Cook of Invader and Beyond the Rising Moon comes Despiser.
Despiser thinks you know a way out.
There is no way out!
Listen to yourself. You sound like a crazy person.
Everybody here is dead!
You never know what you're gonna find. What is it?
The battle for your soul has just begun. Eagle Films presents Despiser.
We're God's trash men sent to right the mess.
Dr. Henry Dgital.
Suppose for a moment that you could lose the darker elements of your makeup.
Jekyll?
I love Henry, Father, and I'm not going to ask him to change.
Mr. Edward Hyde.
You can go straight to hell for all I care.
Edward would certainly kill. I thought Jack had eyes in the back of his head, but this one's diabolical.
Stop him! It's Hyde. He's on the roof.
Murder.
If he be Mr. Hyde,
It's an ugly business, sir.
I shall be Mr. Seek.
Congratulations, Dr. Jekyll!
You saw Henry?
I hate you, Dr. Henry Jekyll.
I'm afraid we want Dr. Jekyll for questioning in the crew murder.
You don't think Jekyll committed this crime, do you?
Time to die, Hyde.
Stay back, you fool!
Where are you, Henry? Where on God's earth are you?
Oh, God, what have I done?
Told her? Told her what? Told her what? Am I the only one here following the story? You were supposed to tell her about the fact that you've loved her for like ever.
Sarah back in town?
Yeah, Sarah's back in town.
Aw, you still have a crush on your big brother's girlfriend, don't you, you little geek?
What the hell is wrong with that guy? Wrong with that guy? Wrong with that guy?
I gotta get out more.
Now get the hell out of here!
Well, maybe she just doesn't want to go with you.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm gonna tell your mama! Forbes! What about the store? Rita can handle it! It's even working?
I don't know. Maybe you don't have a say in this, Pepper.
There's one thing I've learned, it's that I have to get my say. Don't say it. Don't forget to take out the trash.